Kelly. I'm going to be leading us through a little gentle yoga practice today. If you have 2 yoga blocks, they will come in handy. And if you like some cushion under your knees when we're in tabletop or low lunges, you might want to grab either a yoga blanket or a bath towel if you've got one. All right, we are going to start our practice today in a reclined supported butterfly pose. So we are going to grab those 2 yoga blocks. We will bring the soles of the feet together, and then we'll slide the blocks underneath the hips to provide support. The closer those blocks are to your hips, the higher your knees will be. The farther out they are, the lower your knees will be. So you can find the position that's best for your body today. And then once we've got those blocks there, we'll go ahead and lie back. We can adjust those blocks if we need to. And then our arms have options. They could rest on our stomach. They could be by our sides, palms face up, or they might mirror that diamond shape above the head. When you've found the arm position that feels good for you today, we'll take a moment just to arrive here on our mats. So I invite you to drop your awareness into your body and just notice how it's feeling in this moment. Maybe giving a little scan from head to toe. Noticing what parts of your body feel maybe especially good today. And maybe noticing if there are other parts of your body that don't feel as good today. Not judging in any way, but just observing. And then we'll take a moment to check in with our head space and maybe noticing how your thoughts have been moving around in there today. Perhaps coming up with a 1-word adjective that describes their state. And then once you've got that word, tossing that label aside. From here, we'll bring our awareness to our breath. First, just by noticing how it's moving through your body. So what parts of your body move on the inhale, what parts move on the exhale. And just by observing it, you've probably changed it just a little bit. If you haven't, I invite you to use your inhales to create more expansion in the front body. So on every inhale, fully inhaling deep into the stomach, feeling it expand, and then feeling the ribs expand. And then on every exhale, slowly letting all of that air back out. Again, inhaling deep into the stomach, filling up through the ribs. And exhaling slowly. Let's take 3 more rounds at your own pace. On every inhale, trying to create a little more expansion in the front body. On every exhale, maybe adding 1 more second to your exhale. When you've finished that 3rd round, we'll start getting in a little bit of movement. So we'll use our hands to bring our knees back up towards the sky, feet still planted on your mat. We'll take those blocks, we're gonna use them in just a moment. So we're gonna keep them at our sides, and they're gonna be just south of where your hips are on either side of your hips. From here, we're gonna hug the right knee in towards the right shoulder, and then if it's comfortable, we can extend that left leg long. Here we'll take some circles with that right knee going in one direction. And then we'll reverse that direction. And then we're going to take this right knee straight out to the side so that your knee or your shin rests on that block we left on the right side of the body. So we've got kind of a frog leg going on here, right angle at the hip and at the knee. And you can adjust the height of that block if you need it to be higher here. Once we've found the right block height to get some openness in that inner thigh, we're going to spread our arms out wide like a T. On the inhale, I want you to reach away with your fingertips widening as far as they go. On the exhale, we're going to give a big bear hug, right arm on top. Your elbows are going to reach up to the sky. We'll inhale, re-extending the arms wide. We'll exhale, bear hug, left arm on top, elbows reach to the sky. Again, inhaling the arms wide. Exhale, bear hug, right arm on top. We'll take once more, arms wide. Once more, left arm on top, bear hug. And then we'll bring the arms wide once more. We'll hug the left knee in, the right knee in towards the right shoulder. And then we'll take that right knee across the body to the left. It will land on your block that's on that side. And again, we can adjust the height of the block so that it gives you the right amount of support. Our arms can reach back out wide like a T, and your gaze can look over the right shoulder. And we'll settle in here for a few rounds of breath. From here, we'll press into the left palm to bring that right knee back to center. We'll plant the right foot. We'll use it to re-square our hips and straighten out our spine. Then we'll hug the left knee in towards the left shoulder. The right leg will extend long. We'll take some big circles with the left knee in one direction. And then we'll reverse directions. And then we'll drop this left knee out to the left, letting it rest on the block that's on the left side. Again, right angles at the hip and the knee here. We'll extend our arms out wide like a T. On the inhale, we'll stretch through the fingertips. On the exhale, big bear hug, right arm on top. Inhaling to extend the arms. Exhale, bear hug, left arm on top. Inhaling to extend. Exhale, right arm on top. Once more, extending. Once more, left arm on top. And then we'll reach the arms wide. We'll exhale, left knee in towards left shoulder. And then we'll take the knee across the body to the right, letting it fall onto the block that's on the right side. Arms re-extending wide, gaze looking over the left shoulder. Taking a few rounds of breath here. From here, we'll plant through the right palm to bring that knee back to center. We'll plant into that foot to re-straighten the spine and square the hips. And then we'll bring both knees in to the chest. We'll rock a little bit side to side, maybe curling up into a tight, tiny little ball. And then we'll catch behind the thighs. We'll rock front to back a couple times. And we're gonna make our way all the way through to tabletop. And if you would like some cushion under your knees, if you're on a hard surface like I am here, that might feel nice to have your yoga blanket or a bath towel, beach towel underneath your knees. Once we arrive in our tabletop, we'll check in to have wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. We'll move through a few rounds of cat-cow here. So on the inhale, we'll pull the chest forward, stomach drops, tailbone lifts, gaze lifts. On the exhale, back rounds, pressing your mat away, letting the head hang. Inhaling, pulling that chest back forward again, cow pose. Exhaling, rounding the spine into cat. We'll take a few more rounds here at your own pace. If there's a spot where you want to hang out for a moment, you're welcome to do so. If you want to add any extra wiggles in here, maybe some side stretches, maybe some full-on torso rolls, you're welcome to do that as well. And then when we're ready, we'll make our way back to a tabletop position. And from here, we're going to slide the right foot straight out to the side, your toes facing forward. And then we'll kickstand that left foot in about 45 degrees, just a little bit here. Then we're going to plant down through that left palm. On the inhale, we'll reach right finger straight up to the sky. On the exhale, we'll thread that right arm behind the left forearm. Gaze will look over the left shoulder. We'll inhale to open back up. Once more, right finger to the sky. Exhaling to thread the arm behind the left arm. Inhaling here to open. Exhaling here to thread. We'll inhale once more to open. Then we'll return that right palm and the right knee back to tabletop. And then we'll inhale right fingers to the sky once more. We'll thread that right arm behind the left wrist once more. This time we're going to let the right shoulder drop down. The right side of the head drops down. If your hips swiveled off to the side, we'll re-square them like they're in tabletop. Left hand can stay in table. It could come straight forward. We might press through that palm to create extra length through the back body, or that left hand might wrap around. Maybe it's resting on the lower back. Maybe it's catching the right thigh to get further into the left shoulder. You can choose the option that feels best for your body today. And then from here, we'll bring that left hand back to our tabletop position. We'll press into it to lift the torso. We might re-extend right fingers to the sky, and then we'll lower the right palm. From here, the left leg will reach out to the side, toes facing towards the front. Right toes will kickstand in about 45 degrees. From here, we'll inhale, left fingers up to the sky. We'll exhale, threading the left arm behind the right forearm. Gaze looks over the right shoulder. Inhaling to re-extend that left arm. Exhaling to thread the arm. Inhaling to open. Exhaling to thread. And we'll inhale to open once more. We'll exhale, planting that left palm, bringing the left knee back to tabletop. Then we'll inhale, left fingers back to the sky. And then threading that left hand behind the right wrist, left shoulder will rest down, hips will re-square into table. Right arm might stay where it is. It might reach straight forward, pressing through the palm to create length through the back body. It might wrap around on the lower back or catching your left thigh. We'll settle in here for a few rounds of breath. We're bringing your right palm back to tabletop. We'll press into that palm. We might re-extend the left fingers to the sky, and then we'll lower the left hand back into tabletop. From here, we'll bring our knees as wide as our mat. We'll bring big toes to touch. We'll slide our hips back to child's pose. We're going to come into a more active child's pose, though. So I want us up on spider fingers, so your palms are high, up off of your mat. We're going to walk those spider fingers as far forward as they go. And then we're going to press through those fingers to create a little bit of extra length to the back body. You might feel your hips sink a little bit lower here. So we're active in our arms and our shoulders in this child's pose. From here, we'll see if we created any extra length by wiggling those fingers a tiny bit farther forward. And then again, pressing through those fingertips, creating length in the back body, letting our hips sink lower onto our heels. And then from here, we'll walk our fingers over to the right side of our mat and even spilling off of our mat. And we've got options. We could keep our fingers in front of us like this, or we might bring that right hand outside of the right foot. If we do that, we might pull a little with those right fingers as we press a little with those left fingers, maybe getting a little deeper into left side body here. From here, we'll walk the right fingers back to meet the left. We'll walk both sets of fingers back straight forward, and then we'll take them off to the left. Again, they might stay in front of you, or that left hand might reach by your left heel, pulling a little with the left fingers, pressing a little with the right fingers, breathing deeply into right side body here. And then we'll bring left fingers back to meet the right. We'll walk both sets of fingers forward, and we'll lift the hips to come in to tabletop here. Let's go through just a couple rounds of cat-cow, getting a little bit of movement back into the spine. And then we'll come back to our neutral tabletop. From here, we're going to slide the right foot forward to come into a low lunge. We'll reach fingers straight up to the sky. We're going to think about pressing through the back foot, having our hip pointers lifting up towards the sky a bit. And then perhaps we lift that right heel, which might let our hips sink a little bit lower in our lunge here. Couple breaths here, opening up that left hip flexor. And then we'll bring the right hand to the right hip. We'll reach left fingers up and over, a little side stretch, hips still sinking low here. And then sweeping that right arm up, lowering that right heel, straightening that right knee. Right toes will reach up to the sky. From here, we'll lower our hands to either side of that front leg. Maybe we'll grab our blocks if the floor feels far away. We're going to add a little bit of movement with our breath here. So on the inhale, we're going to lift halfway up, reaching through the crown of the head. On the exhale, folding forward, back round, head hangs. Inhaling, re-extending the spine. Exhaling to fold forward. Inhaling to extend. Exhaling to round. And then we'll come back up halfway. And then we'll add some movement with those right toes. So we'll just rotate that right foot side to side. It might get into some different spots in the hamstring. It might help us get into the IT band a little bit on the outer hip. And then from here, we're going to re-bend through the right knee. We'll set blocks aside if we've got them. We'll slide on the right knee back to meet the left. We can keep knees on our mat. We're going to come all the way down onto the ground. From here, we're going to take our fingers out in spider fingers on either side of the mat. So we've got goalpost arms, but fingers on the floor. On the inhale, we'll curl the chest into baby cobra. On the exhale, lowering down. Inhaling to curl the chest. Exhaling to lower. We'll inhale once more up. From here on the exhale, we're going to drop the right shoulder in towards the center, a little twist in our cobra. We'll inhale, bringing that right shoulder back up. We'll exhale, left shoulder in towards the center. Guys might look over the right shoulder. Inhaling back to center. Exhaling, right shoulder dips in. Inhaling, center. Exhaling, left shoulder dips. Inhaling, center. And then we'll lower our torso down. We'll plant our palms. We'll push back up to our tabletop. From here, we'll slide our left foot straight forward, coming into runner's lunge, second side. We'll inhale, fingers up to the sky. We might lift that left heel to be able to sink into the hips a bit. We're still pressing through the right foot, hip pointers reaching up to the sky. From here, we'll bring the left hand to the left hip, right fingers will reach up and over, side stretch. And then we'll sweep left fingers back up to the sky, lowering the left heel, straightening the left knee. And then we'll fold forward here, maybe finding those blocks if the floor feels far away. And we'll add the same movement as the first side. So we'll inhale, lengthening through the spine. We'll exhale to round the spine, letting the head drop. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhaling to round. Once more to lengthen. Once more to round. And then we'll come back up and we'll just rotate that left foot side to side, maybe adjusting the hamstring stretch, maybe getting a little IT band stretch with this rotation here. And then we'll bring that left leg back to stillness. We'll rebend through the left knee. We'll plant our palms. We'll slide that left knee back. We'll come forward into low plank. We'll lower our chest to the ground. We'll take our pulsing cobras one more time. So spider fingers on either side of the mat. Toes reaching long. Inhaling to curl the chest up. And exhaling to lower. Inhaling to curl. And lowering. Once more curling. Once more lowering. I lied. We're going to go once more up. So that we can dip the right shoulder into the center. Inhaling back to center. Exhaling left shoulder in. Inhaling center. Right shoulder. Center. Left shoulder. Center. And then lowering your chest, planting palms, pushing up and back to tabletop. We'll do one more little low lunge series here. So we're going to step the right foot forward, low lunge. We're going to come up, fingers reaching to the sky. From here, we're going to interlace fingers behind the back. We're going to inhale to lift the chest. So getting a little chest opener, shoulder opener here while we're still getting into that left hip flexor. And then from here, we'll straighten that front knee. We'll bring right toes to the sky. We've got some options. We might fold forward with those fingers still interlaced. So fingers are reaching behind us as crown of the head is reaching forward. A little active half splits, or we could release those fingers to come into half splits as we did before. Take a couple rounds of breath here. And then if fingers are still interlaced, we'll release those fingers. We'll rebend through the front knee. And then we're going to walk that right foot out to the edge of the mat to come into our lizard lunge. We've got options here. We could stay up on our palms. We could lower onto forearms. Or we might need an intermediate option between those two. We might grab a block or two and rest our forearms on that block. In our lizard lunge, we're thinking about keeping that right knee close-ish to the right shoulder, but letting our hips sink heavy. From here, we'll come back up onto our palms. We're going to plant through the left palm. The right fingers are going to open up to the sky, a little twisted lunge here. We can think about our hips sinking low, but pressing through that left shoulder so we're not just sinking into that left shoulder. And then we'll lower the right hand. We'll swing that right knee back to meet the left. We're going to come into our low plank once more to lower all the way down onto the ground. And then we're going to come into Sphinx pose. So we'll have elbows directly underneath the shoulders. Toes are reaching long behind us. We're going to think about pressing down through the forearms and pulling in with the forearms to curl that chest forward. Our gaze should be neutral, just straight in front of us. We're not cranking the head back because that probably won't feel very good. From here, we're going to do a little mashup between Sphinx and what we just did. So we're keeping the left arm in Sphinx. We're going to bring the right fingers out to the side, spider fingers. We're going to push down and pull in with the left forearm as we push a little bit with those right fingertips. Might feel a little more openness in the right front body with that right arm out to the side. And then we'll bring the right forearm back into Sphinx. The left fingers will come into spider fingers off the left side of the mat, pressing and pulling with the right forearm as we press with the left fingers. And then we'll bring the left forearm back to meet the right. Let's take one full round of breath in our regular Sphinx here. And then we'll wiggle the shoulders out to the side to lower the torso. We'll plant our palms. We'll push up to tabletop here. From here, your left foot will come forward into our low lunge. We'll inhale, fingers up to the sky. And then we're gonna exhale to interlace fingers, the second favorite way behind the back. That feels a little awkward. Fingers will reach down and back. And chest lifts, hips are sinking low here. And then we'll re-straighten through that front knee. We'll fold forward. Again, fingers can stay interlaced. Fingers are then reaching up and back as kind of the head is reaching forward, a little counterbalance here. Or we can always let those fingers go if we need some support for the torso. And then from here, we'll pull through those fingers to come back up. We'll rebend the front knee. We'll wiggle that foot out to the side as we lower hands to the inside of that left foot. We might stay up on our palms. We might lower onto forearms. We might find an intermediate option with forearms on the block. Thinking about keeping that left knee close-ish to the left shoulder as opposed to just letting it completely flop out to the side. From here, we'll plant down into the right palm to come up, sliding any blocks out of the way. Right palm plants, left fingers open up to the sky, pressing through that right palm so that we're not sinking into the right shoulder. And then we'll lower that left hand. We'll bring the left knee back to meet the right. We're gonna do one more little front body opener here. We're gonna bring our palms to the top outer front corners of our mat. Our hips are gonna stay pretty high in the air. They might shift a little, that's normal, but we're not going back into child's pose is what I'm trying to say here. We're gonna lower our torso down, so either your forehead rests on your mat or your chin, depending on your proportions and your neck openness. And then we're gonna think about pressing through the palms, especially pinky sides of the palms. Breathing deeply into the upper back, trying to create space through the upper back and shoulders. And then we'll bring our hands back to tabletop-ish. We'll press into them to come up. We'll slide our hips back onto our heels, and we're gonna make our way up to standing. If you have that blanket on your mat, we might get that out of the way. And you can come really anywhere on your mat will work just fine. We're gonna do a little bit of twisting and shoulder opening and stuff, so you can get a nice comfortable standing position with your feet about hip width apart. And we're just gonna swing side to side. We can let the back foot come with our body. We'll get a little bit of momentum that will help take the arms, kind of wringing out our whole body with these standing twists. And then we'll slow down our twists and we'll notice our arms don't get quite as high. They have a little less momentum, and we'll slow down so that we're coming all the way back to standing in stillness. We'll find our mountain pose once more, and then we'll inhale, fingers up to the sky. We'll exhale, taking left wrist and right hand, leaning up and over to your right, and maybe your left foot sweeps behind the right, getting further into our side stretch here. And then we'll inhale back to center. We'll exhale, left hand catches right wrist, right foot slides behind the left. Couple breaths here. And then we'll come back to center. We'll bring our arms to goalpost arms. We're gonna come into eagle arms. We'll have the right arm on top. Left thumb comes towards the face, left fingers catch the palm. If this doesn't work for your dimensions, a good bear hug will also work just fine here. Then we've got some options. We might just inhale our elbows forward and up, or we might get a good bend in the knees and we might fold forward. We might get enough bend in the knees that our torso can actually rest on our thighs. And then we can sway a little bit. Gravity can take the arms. We can let gravity take the head. You might shake the head yes or no here. Taking a few deep breaths, getting a little extra space created in the upper back. And then from here, we'll press through the feet to come back up to standing. We'll unravel the arms. We'll give the shoulders a little shake. And then we'll come into that with left arm on top. So arms and goalpost arms, left arm on top, right thumb to the face, right fingers catch left palm, elbows move forward and up. We might stay here. We might soften through the knees and fold forward. If we're folding forward, we might add a gentle sway. We might make sure that our head is soft and relaxing towards the ground. And then we'll press through the soles of the feet to come back up to standing. We'll unravel the arms. We'll give the shoulders a little wiggle. We'll come back to our mountain pose. We'll inhale, fingers to the sky. We'll exhale to fold forward. If the ground feels far away, we might have blocks underneath our fingers. From here, we're going to bring the left fingers between the feet. We'll straighten the right knee. We'll bend the left knee as the right fingers reach up to the sky. We'll think about lifting that right hip up and back, maybe getting a little stretch in that outer hip. And then we'll lower the right hands to between the feet. We'll bend the right knee. We'll straighten the left knee. Left fingers will open up to the sky. And then we'll come to lower the left hand. We're going to walk our feet out so that they're at least hip width apart, probably a little bit wider than hip width apart. And then we'll think about dropping our hips down onto our heels, coming into a yogi squat. We might grab a block for underneath the hips if we need a little support here. We might think about grounding down through the heels if they're high in space. Can we get them even a little bit lower than they currently are? And then we'll press elbows into knees, knees into elbows. Chest will be tall. Taking a couple breaths here. And then if we slid a block underneath the hips, we'll get that out of the way. We're going to do my favorite yoga transition. We're just going to plop down onto our bottoms. Once we arrive here, we will send our left leg straight forward. Our right foot will plant on the left side of that left leg. We'll sit up nice and tall. We might, if we find that we're rounded here, we might grab a blanket to sit up on to get a little extra height. From here, we'll inhale, fingers to the sky. We'll exhale to twist to the right. Right fingers will plant behind you, left arm catches that right knee. Spine is nice and long. Crown of the head is reaching tall. Gaze might look over at the right shoulder. We'll unravel here. We'll cross that right knee over the left thigh with that shin parallel-ish to the ground. We'll sit up nice and tall. We'll inhale, fingers to the sky, and then we'll fold forward here. And then we'll walk our fingers back in. We'll uncross the right leg. We'll plant the left foot on the outside of that right leg. We'll sit up nice and tall, and then we'll inhale, fingers to the sky. We'll exhale, twisting to the left. Right arm catches the knee, left fingers plant behind us. Gaze might look over the left shoulder. And then unraveling here, crossing that left leg over the right, shin parallel-ish to the ground, really sitting up nice and tall, and then inhaling, fingers to the sky, and exhaling to fold forward. From here, we'll walk hands back in to come out. We'll unravel that left leg. And then we're gonna come into a supported fish pose. So we're gonna grab our 2 yoga blocks. And we've got some options. I'll walk us through some different options. We're gonna have 2 blocks. A good starting point is to try your second one on the medium setting, the top one on the lowest setting. This block here is going to come, if you find your shoulder blades and your back, the little wingy spots, it's going to sit just below those wingy shoulder blades. And then your head is going to rest on the top one. And so we would come, we would lie back, we would find the block just south of the shoulder blades. We've got this one for the head, and then arms can reach out wide like a T. If we're really open, the shoulders, maybe they're in goalpost arms. If you're in goalpost arms and your arms can't reach the ground, let's get them out like a T. Legs could be as they are here, knees bent, feet planted, or we could reach them long like a more traditional fish pose. Other options here, depending on your neck mobility, that top headrest could be medium or even high setting. Play around with what feels okay. If this block feels aggressive at the medium setting, it could go on the low setting. That would be totally cool too. So find the right block combination for you. If you're trying one like this doesn't feel great, probably you want to lower this one and or raise the head one. So giving you a moment to get the right dimensions. And then settling into your fish pose, arms out wide or goalpost arms. And we'll take a moment to create a little bit of extra space through the front body, which for most of us tends to get pretty compressed from sitting a lot and spending a ton of time on our phones or at computers and things. So So in this pose, on every inhale, we might think about creating expansion in the front body, just as we did at the start of class. And on every exhale, trying to let your torso soften onto your blocks a little bit more. Let's take 3 more rounds of breath here. On every inhale, trying to create a little more space in the front body. And every exhale, a little more softness. When you finish that third round, stick them out. We might just plant our palms and our elbows on either side of the blocks and then press into them to come up, or we might roll off to one side if that's easier on your body. And then we're just gonna slide those blocks out of the way and we'll come to lie back down on our mats for a little while longer before we come into Shavasana. So from here, we're gonna pick up our knees like we're sitting in a chair. We'll slide our hips a little bit over to the left, and then we'll drop our knees over to the right. Left arm will reach out wide like a T, and gaze might look over the left shoulder. From here, we'll plant into the right palm to bring the knees back to center. We'll take a moment to straighten out the spine, and then we'll bring our our hips a little to the right. We'll drop our knees off to the left. Right arm will reach out wide like a T. Gaze will look over the right shoulder. From here, we'll press into the left palm to bring the knees back to center. We'll give the knees a little hug in towards the chest. We might rock a little bit side to side. And then we'll let the knees go. We'll lengthen one leg and then the other. We'll bring our arms by our sides, palms face up. Maybe wiggling one shoulder blade under and then the other, tucking chin in a bit. If it's comfortable, closing your eyes and making your way into Shavasana. We'll be here for about 2 minutes or so. Your only task here is to breathe and to be, and I will let you know when it's time to come out. And when you're ready, you can start adding some movement back into your body, maybe wiggling fingers and toes, maybe rolling wrists and ankles, maybe reaching arms overhead for one last long stretch. You can make your way onto your favorite side, maybe pausing for a breath or two there. And then we'll gently make our way back up to a comfortable seated position. When we arrive, we can rest hands in our laps. If it's comfortable, we'll close our eyes. We'll take one last moment to check in, dropping your awareness into your body, noticing how it feels to be you in this moment. And then bringing your awareness to your breath and maybe taking one last big full inhale. And long, slow exhale. And then we'll bring our hands to heart center. We'll take a moment to thank ourselves for doing something kind for our minds and our bodies. Thank you very much for sharing your practice with me today. Namaste. Thank you for coming. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day.